Why hello there everybody, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. Today we're going to be doing some chores around my island while generally having a chat about some things that I've had on my mind. So what we're going to be doing today is decorating the exterior of my house for Christmas, cleaning up from Halloween because I still have not done that yet in some areas of my island. I really hope that I'm not the only one. We're then going to be sprucing up my village and neighbourhood for the festive season, decorating the exterior of Sprinkles' house because she's just moved in, but she's still got all of the decorations left over from Dom out there, so we're going to be taking down all the pink stuff, adding some cute stuff for her. Then we're going to be decorating a little bit outside in my resident services park because I had a little seating area set up out there, but it's time to change that. And then finally what we're going to be doing is upgrading my second character's house for a secret project that I've got coming up in a couple of weeks. So all these things that I wanted to get done today are generally little things that I've needed to get done for a while, and next week I'm actually going to be posting a island tour and my first ever dream address, which I'm really excited about. I know my island won't be completely finished, but I wanted to do it now because I wanted to document what my island looks like at the end of 2020, so then maybe by the end of next year, which seems like such a long way away, we'll be able to come back and explore what my island looked like then, and it would just be nice to get a bit of comparison. So before we move on to the main chatting bit of this video, I just thought I'd really quickly describe what I'm going to be doing to the exterior of my house. I found it kind of difficult to decide the theme that I wanted to go for, but I decided in the end just to go for something really plain and simple and quite clean. So we're just going to be making the exterior of the house white and having a black roof, then decorating with just some white roses and one or two red mums, I think, as well. Then on the little cliff area behind my house, just making a cute little seating area with a little picnic blanket. I was actually inspired by so the show with Gordon Ramsay, Gino D'Acampo and Fred Siriax, where they've done like a little Christmas special where they go to Lapland and they found this random guy on Instagram who makes coffees in the forest in the middle of absolute nowhere, and I was kind of inspired by that, and so that's why we've got the little coffee pots out there. I actually had to go on Nookazon to find somebody to let me catalogue a fire pit, so that meant that this video took a lot longer than originally anticipated, but yeah, I'm really happy with how the area turned out. I kind of am feeling like I want to change my house from being on this little island. So this may be the last time that you see any kind of update with that happening, but that is going to be a challenge for next year because I don't want to think about how I'm going to try and do that right now. So yeah, the vibe for my house for Christmas in Animal Crossing this year is just going to be very plain and clean with the little red accents of the holiday candle, the wreath. I did consider putting a holiday tree out as well, but for me it didn't fill up the corner that I wanted to put it in quite nicely enough, so that's why we don't really have that many Christmas decorations out. Okay, so the first thing that I wanted to chat about today was the fact that for privacy reasons I'm deciding to change my channel name from something other than my real name, just because we're fast approaching 100 subscribers, which is really exciting, but I just kind of figured that it's time for a change. So if everything goes according to plan today, by the time you see this or shortly after, my channel will no longer be named my real name, but I will from now on be called Apricity. So I'm deciding to do this because when I originally started my channel, I just decided to go with my name because I had no idea for any other kind of name that I wanted to use for it. Plus, when I started, I had a very different idea for my channel than what it's kind of turning into now. My original plan for it wasn't to necessarily just be Animal Crossing or gaming content. I am looking into like breaking into some other games at some point, but for now I'm really happy with Animal Crossing. But when I originally started my channel, I wanted to make student and studying related content. That was something that I was really passionate about at the time. Planning and organisation and all that good stuff that goes with being a student is something that I am still really passionate in, and that is a bit of a weird hobby of mine. I am currently a university student, so it is relevant to my life in that aspect. But I was thinking about the kind of content that I wanted to make, and as I thought about it, I realised that I didn't have that many ideas that would get me past a couple of months, if even that. And when I made my first ever Animal Crossing video and I saw instantly how much more popular that was in relation to the few other videos that I'd already made, that was when I kind of thought, okay, maybe I'll give Animal Crossing a go. And one other thing that I noticed when I was making my channel name is that one kind of theme or pattern that I've noticed over the years of watching YouTube, I've noticed a lot of YouTubers and content creators changing their name, the name of their channel that is, from a screen name to their real name. And so I thought, you know what, I'm gonna be smart here and I'm gonna skip out the middleman. I'm just gonna go straight to using my original name, like my actual name. But after starting my channel and kind of finding the place that I am at today, I've noticed that I've only seen one content creator in the gaming space do that being James Turner, who was previously known as the Sim Supply, and that most of the content creators that I've noticed to have done that have been beauty or lifestyle, that kind of genre of content creator. So for me now, I feel like it makes more sense, again for privacy reasons, to take on this new name, which again is Apricity. So if you wanted to know a bit more about why I chose the name Apricity, I actually just stumbled across it one day. It's a Latin word and it means something along the lines of basking in the winter sun. Winter is my favourite season. I love it. I love the cold. And it's just such a cozy feeling to go out on a walk and for it to be sunny but also so chilly outside. And just for me as well, I feel like the word really just rolls out the mouth very comfortably. I like it, and I hadn't noticed anybody else with that name, so that's why I chose it. The next thing that I wanted to touch on was the fact that we're coming up on the end of another year. I don't think anyone could have predicted how this year would have turned out, a year ago today. But I just wanted to touch on some goals that I've set myself this year, and then some goals that I've set myself going into next year as well. So in March of this year, I set myself the goal of reading 12 books, which doesn't sound like a lot to people who read a lot, but for me, that's kind of a lot of books to read. And tying into that, I wanted to finish reading the Harry Potter series because it's a series that I never read as a kid, but I've been a massive fan of the films my whole life. So the fact that I haven't watched, or read them rather, is kind of insane. So I am proud to say that by the end of this year, I would have hit both of those goals. It kind of ties in together in that I'm currently reading the last book, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, which will also then be my 12th book for the year as well, which I'm super proud of myself because that means that I have read more books in the last year than I probably have in the last 5 combined. So yeah, I'm really proud of myself for doing that. Some of the books that I read outside of the Harry Potter series include 3 of the Witcher books. I'll be reading the rest of those next year, but I'll talk more about that in a minute. But I found so I'm not necessarily reading them in chronological order, but I'm reading them in kind of like a timeline order, which I found on a website. So the first 3 that I read were The Last Wish, Sword of Destiny, and Season of Storms, which the first 2 are a collection of short stories, and the third one is a kind of independent story, but it's set out like a regular novel, and in chapters rather than short stories. They have been fabulous so far, and I'm excited to dive into the rest of the Witcher saga, which will be one of my goals for next year to finish reading, as well as reading another 12 books, which I know some people may say, well, why not try and beat that? But I'm trying to keep this attainable. I know a lot of people picked up reading during lockdown, and after the main lockdown ended kind of towards the summer, I had to try really hard to keep up that habit that I'd built of reading every day. And I'm pretty proud to say that I think I've done that fairly well. So I'm also calling these goals rather than New Year's resolutions, because I think that New Year's resolutions as a concept kind of come with the preconception that they won't last past January, that they have a bit of a bad rep for not being stuck to. So I think that with setting goals for an entire year, it's a lot more attainable and concrete, as in you have a time when you want them to be completed by. Whereas New Year's resolutions, it's just kind of like, I'm gonna start these at the start of the year. Go forth. Maybe you'll complete them, maybe you won't. I'm not sure if that makes sense to anyone else, but I just wanted to clarify that. But moving on to that, my final goal of the year so far, because I don't just restrict myself to setting goals at the start of the year, I can set them whenever I want, as new things that I want to achieve come up. So one of them that I feel really strongly that I want to achieve by next year, specifically by September the 1st, is getting my YouTube channel monetized. This is a really fun hobby, and I don't think that it's a bad thing to say that if I can make a hobby make me money at the same time. I'm not saying a full job, because I am a student right now. I am lucky enough and I'm so grateful that I don't need to be working full-time at the same time as getting my education, because I am a full-time student. But hey, if it's something that can just act as a little side hustle for me, then I absolutely want to be able to do that. So if you're not familiar with how the monetization process for YouTube works, then it means that you have to have hit 1,000 subscribers and hit 4,000 watch hours as well, which will definitely be the trickiest part. And I've chose September the 1st as my goal for this, because that will be 1 year after I first uploaded my first video. I feel like I can do it. I've had, over the last few weeks, my first little surge in subscribers. We're nearly at 100 subscribers, and I feel like I can hit that by the end of this year, which is really exciting. So if I can get monetized by the 1st of September next year, I'll just be absolutely ecstatic. So I'm really curious to hear about what your guys' goals for next year are, if that is something that you like to set for yourselves. If you've made it this far in the video, because I know this is going to be a long one, please feel free to leave them in the comments down below. I'm really interested to hear what you guys are aspiring towards, what you guys are excited about and want to better yourself in through setting goals. I think that it's something that the process of setting goals and kind of short-term, like month-long goals as well, is something that I've really got into for the second half of this year. So yeah, with that, thank you so much for listening, guys, and watching. This is probably more of a sit down, get a cup of tea, or maybe just put me on in the background while you're doing some chores, whether that be in Animal Crossing or in real life. But I hope that you've enjoyed my ramblings. This, if all goes to plan, will be one of the last videos that you'll be listening to with my awful mic. And yeah, this is also the last video that I'll be posting with me and my channel being the way that it is, and I hope that you're excited for moving forward into what I've got planned for this channel, and the kind of rebrand. But yeah, if you guys have got any suggestions for video ideas or generally anything, please feel free to leave them in the comments down below. I'd love to hear from you. I hope you guys are having a great day, and I'll see you again soon.